On Saturday, April 22nd, a day students were supposed to celebrate and enjoy their prom, ends in tragedy. Several students made the uneducated decision to drink and drive. Their choices led to the scene in front of you. Kyle Rock is driving the Volkswagen, and he's heavily intoxicated. He has one passenger in his vehicle with him. Jesse Walcott is driving the Explorer, which contains two others who decided to celebrate their prom in a safer, more responsible way. Kyle was speeding down the road and crossed the center line on 100th Avenue near Riley, striking Jesse's vehicle. After Jessie stumbles out of her vehicle, she manages to contact 911 despite having injuries.
Ottawa County 911, what is your emergency?
There's been a car accident on 100th and Riley.
Okay, 100th Avenue and Riley Street?
Yeah.
Are you right by the high school?
By the stadium. By the stadium.
Okay, how many vehicles are involved?
2. Just 2.
Okay, 2 vehicles involved. Are there any injuries?
Yeah, I don't know the extent, but there's people laying everywhere.
Okay, how many patients?
5, 4.
Okay, 4 patients? Okay.
Yes.
I have emergency units en route now. They should be there shortly.
At this time, 911 dispatch will remain online with the witnesses and continue to gather more information about the accident to relay to the emergency units that are responding. The first officer arrives will assess the scene and look for any hazards that may affect the rescue efforts. These include downed power lines, leaking gas, fire, or anything else that may injure the rescue workers. After this, he will check the injured and start first aid. The officer will then contact Central Dispatch to make sure the fire department, ambulance, and other necessary equipment have been contacted, are en route to the scene.
Zeeland Township Fire Rescue and Holland Township Fire Rescue and AMR have a PI pin in 100th Avenue and Riley Street. 100th Avenue and Riley Street have a PI pin in, priority 1 response.
After Deputy Vanderbosch assesses the first patient, he advises that it's a fatal accident and moves on to assist other patients who are in need of help on the scene. He would also advise that he needs traffic crash investigator to come to the scene. Once the fire department and ambulance arrive, the police will begin to brief emergency units on the victim's injuries and assist with first aid. Other officers will then move into their role as crowd control and accident investigators. The fire department begins to assist the rescue unit with first aid and renders aid to other occupants involved in the accident. The fire department will also use any necessary tools needed in order to free the occupants from inside of the vehicle. Fire Command, Central Dispatch.
Fire Command, go ahead.
Central, we have priority injuries on scene. Put AeroMed in the air. The first victim assessed was Cecily Van Single. Cecily was a front seat passenger. She was not wearing a seatbelt. Upon impact, she was thrown through the windshield, her body still moving at 55 miles an hour as it slammed into the other car. She is unconscious and unresponsive. There is nothing the first responders can do. Cecily has no pulse or blood pressure. She is dead. The first responders request a medical examiner come to the scene. In cases of fatal accidents, a medical examiner arrives on scene to complete an investigation regarding the exact cause of death and pronounces the time of death. An officer will respond to the deceased family and notify them of the incident in person. In addition to this, a team of victim advocates are requested to assist in notification of the deceased family members during their time of loss. After the medical examiner's investigation and the victim advocates had arrived on scene, Eintima's Funeral Home is requested to respond to the scene to descend to the deceased, Cecily Van Single. The most critically injured, who is still alive, is Austin Panavong. Austin was a front seat passenger of Kyle's vehicle. He was not wearing a seatbelt. At the time of the impact, Austin's body folded over on itself. His head struck the dash and broke the side window, causing a deep laceration and uncontrollable bleeding. Austin has a decreased level of consciousness as he feels the pain of broken bones grazing against each other each time he breathes. A second critically injured occupant was identified as Kennedy Holsteg. She was the back seat passenger in Jesse's vehicle. She as well was not wearing a seatbelt, and upon impact, she was thrown towards the seat in front of her. Her face and head struck first, causing her neck to snap back as the weight of her body landed forward. This movement injured her spine, making her paralyzed, and she also sustained severe facial lacerations. During the course of the investigation, the deputies that responded identified the driver of the at-fault vehicle as Kyle Rock. He has sustained minor cuts and bruises. Police suspect Kyle to be under the influence of alcohol, and because of that, begin running him through a series of standardized field sobriety tests. After that investigation, Kyle is subsequently arrested for operating under the influence of alcohol, causing death and serious injury. The fire department is currently trying to extricate the patient using jaws of life. This is a very intensive effort and specialized equipment and training being used by the members of the various fire departments. Essentially, they'll be taking the roof of the vehicle off so they can access that patient without causing further injury to the patient. While this is occurring, the patient, Austin Panavong, is being assessed by members of first aid responding officers and AMR who have arrived on scene. The fire department members you see to the west have set up a landing zone for AeroMed, which is en route to assist Austin Panavong and any additional patients. That LZ is mandatory and requested by AMR, checked by AeroMed, who are only a few minutes away at this point. Once this accident investigation is complete and the victims are taken care of, Romines Towing will be requested to respond to the scene in order to remove the vehicles for further investigation by the Sheriff's Department. After all of the physical pain and suffering which the people involved in this accident have endured, They must also deal with the pain of losing a classmate and a friend. Kyle must now face charges for driving while intoxicated and criminal charges for death of Cecily Van Single and the serious injuries of his friend Austin Panavong and Kennedy Holsted. Kyle is now facing life in prison. All of us here today hope that we have made a difference in the decisions you make involving the consumption of alcohol and driving. Think before you drink and drive, because it may end with a goodbye to a friend, a family member, or a classmate. Austin Panavong has been extricated from that vehicle, and he's been brought over to the Aeromed Flight Service, where he will be brought to Butterworth Hospital with life-threatening injuries. Accident investigator Steve Austin has arrived on scene, and he, along with the Traffic Services Unit, will be on scene for several hours investigating this matter. This investigation will in fact continue for several days, if not weeks, after this crash.
Right in, okay? Okay. You want me to go to the back side here, or are you going in? I got it. Can the camera catch this real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet.
Okay.
Great.
Just sit right.
Going in and closing.
Ready?
Yep.
want to thank you all for coming today, and we hope we made an impact in your lives and your decision making. At this point, the scenario is over. You are welcome and invited, in fact, to go meet the first responders, check out their equipment, as well as respectfully approach Aeromed and ask them the same questions. Thank you and have a good day and a safe prom.
So you were the driver of the car. Just what was this whole experience like?
It was really enriching for me. It really opened my eyes into what the actual horrors of drunk driving is, and accidents in general. You know, driving can be really dangerous, and you're driving such a big vehicle at such a fast rate, and if you're driving intoxicated, it's even worse. So just if you drink, call a cab, call an Uber. I don't care what you do, but don't get in a car, because when you get in a car, you're endangering your and everyone else's life. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Good job. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
What's the question?
So you were in the crowd, right?
Yeah.
So what was it like? Do you think it changed how you thought, how you think, and how you'll? What am I am so bad at
How
this.
he feels about the experience.
How did you feel about this experience?
Well, I think a lot more kids realize how realistic these things are and how bad they can really be. And this is real stuff. It actually happens. So it's good to see that.
Thank you. How was this experience of watching the ambulances and cops and everyone in the scene happen here?
I think it brings a new truth to the whole thing, that it is a reality and it happens too often, and really got to be careful and think about your actions. So,
Thank you. Have a good day. Hello, so what is your name?
I'm Kennedy Halsteg.
And what was your role in this?
I was a person who got hit her head on the seat and wasn't wearing a seatbelt, so I ended up getting paralyzed, and then I had lacerations on my face. So.
Oh. All right. Well, what can you tell me about this experience?
I think it's a really good experience for people to have. For me to do it, it was really cool to experience it, and it made it super surreal. But for people to watch it, it's a big eye opener for what you should and shouldn't be doing. Obviously, not drinking and driving. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just really awkward.
No, that's okay. It's good practice.
So I'm here with the superintendent, Mr. DeKuyper, and he was here watching this scene. So what do you think?
Well, I tell you, there are, you talk about these kind of things, and we all know it, we think it, but to actually see it, what an impact, and you just don't realize the finality of decisions like this, and to see Aeromed come in and all the responders come in, and we talk about those kind of things, and yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. It's not cool when it's real. So this one had a bigger impact on me than I actually ever thought it would, and it'll last a while.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.